Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. It is Thursday, November 30th. Happy birthday to Brendan Foley today. I've got too many friends, Kevin. I can't keep up with all of this. Unfortunately, we're going to start the show this way. Unfortunately, Jake Ciancio, New Canaan football captain, was set to join us for a phone interview. He's actually in the Hartford Hospital right now, Kevin. Ruptured his spleen in Tuesday night's quarterfinal game against Middletown. Jake is now meeting with doctors at the moment. Everything is okay. Just a routine checkup now at this point in the process. So, unfortunately, we don't have Jake with us today. We'll get him back with us later on next week, hopefully. We're wishing you the best, Jake, and a quick recovery to you. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to him, but we'll see Jake soon.
And you look back, and I talked to him after that Turkey Bowl game. You could tell how excited he was just by the way he was carrying his body language when we were walking up to do the interview, and then mid-interview, you could tell through his answers, through what he was saying, after what he was answering from questions I asked him, he was just so thrilled that, finally they were able to beat that class that beat Darien, So it's unfortunate, and we would have loved to talk to Jake today because I can guarantee you, even though he's in that hospital, he will still have the same enthusiasm that he showed on Thanksgiving morning, and which is unbelievable. It just speaks characters to his personality, the type of guy he is, too.
It's funny you say that because I was sitting there texting with him this morning, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, we're going to have this young man call in. He's in the ICU at the moment. Could you imagine that point in time where he starts talking about the number 8 seed upsetting the number 1 team? I don't know how well that would have been received by the doctors in the ICU. Because you're right, this is a young man who is beloved by his teammates. He is a big energy guy. They feed off of his emotion, and it was on display after we spoke with him following the New Canaan Turkey Bowl victory. Now they go up to Middletown, and he's giving it all. They lose him in the middle of the game, rally around that. This is going to be a big rallying cry for the Rams moving forward here, and I feel for Jake because this is the guy, Kev, we saw at times this year. Jake, you know better than I do. You're maybe 5'6" standing on a foot ladder. He was a target offenses wanted to go after, sure. And he found ways to put himself in position to be successful. He overcame the hiccups against St. Joe's early on, struggled against Greenwich, never let it get him down, and you saw it all culminate with that big pick 6 to start the Turkey Bowl. So a great story for Jake and the way his senior year turned around. A perfect example of what you want one of your senior captains and leaders to be. Get well soon, Jake. We're going to talk to you soon. It's going to be a good finish, and the Rams and everyone are thinking about you, buddy, there.
Well, no, I'm glad you said that, especially considering his height, and that's tough. But you look back at Week 1 against St. Joe's, and they really tried to expose him with Jared Malazzi. They switched him up a bunch of times with different receivers, different guys who were taller than Jake, and you're right. I think he did a terrific job this year overcoming that obstacle of, obviously the height was a disadvantage for Jake, but he overcame that. Look what happened. He made probably easily the biggest play in the Turkey Bowl, because if he doesn't make that pick 6, you could be talking about a different storyline here, because with that pick 6, that changed the entire outcome, because that just made Darien deflated right off the start of it. First play of the game, first pass, and Jake runs it back into the end zone for a touchdown. So it is a great story for Jake, and again, you're right, Frank. We all hope he gets better soon. It's got to be killing him that he's more than likely not going to be able to play on Sunday, because if there's someone who, and I asked him this after the game, after the Turkey Bowl, I asked him, is a win like this going to be an advantage for you guys going to the state tournament? Are you guys going to rally around a win like this? And he said yes, and you're right. He is one of those guys who's in the middle of the pack. When he's on the sidelines, he's barking the entire time. So he is a burst of energy. He is that type of leader you want in your team, whether he's 7 foot tall, 5 foot nothing. And it just speaks volumes to the type of player he is, what kind of attitude he has, and it's fun to see. But again, it's got to be killing him that he's not going to be playing on Sunday.
Let's dive into this a little deeper now, and you look ahead to the matchup against Massac. This was already a banged-up secondary. Nico Savini, the junior who was playing well at times, he's been out with a lower body injury. Logan Otis has done a tremendous job stepping into the place, getting some extra corner reps. I think you're going to see more of Will Rechterman now in that safety backfield. Zach Miller or Sean Knight might have to get some work at the corner position as well. So it's another body down, and obviously Ciancio has been heavily involved with this defense for 3 years now. Communication-wise, it could hurt the Rams as you're losing a guy who knows and understands all the checks. So possibilities here opening up in the passing game for Masick, but I expect New Canaan to be able to, next guy up, fill that spot in the rotation as they have so many times this year.
And I think if you're Coach Marinelli, you have to feel confident about that because he has a roster filled with some younger players who are, it's time for them to get that experience, time to get that playoff experience. While he would love to have Jake out there, his senior leader, he has guys behind him who can step in. And you're right, who can they rely on next? There's always someone who's ready to go. And I think New Canaan, considering their secondary was a little shaky in the beginning of the year, I thought really did a nice job of shaping up towards that end of the season, doing a nice job of really closing things down. And that defensive line, man, led by Garrett Braden, I think if he's able to get past and put some pressure on the quarterback, there's a good chance that New Canaan's come away with that victory and causing, again, some more turnovers for Masick in this game like they did against Darien and against Middletown.
8 turnovers for the Rams in the past 2 games. They forced 4 fumbles against Middletown after not forcing one the 2 previous weeks. After not forcing a fumble in the past 4 games. The big thing for me, though, and it's on the other side of the ball, Kevin, New Canaan has not turned the football over in their last 2 games. This is a tough defense to score on. I don't see anyone in this tournament putting up more than probably 14 to 17 points. But offensively, if they're protecting the football, they're being efficient and controlling the clock, this is not a New Canaan team you want to play catch-up with. And Drew Pine is now playing the smartest football of his young career. He has matured so much. He is appreciating to just give yourself another down, protecting the football, and it is paying out big time for the Rams offense.
I completely agree. You look back at the Turkey Bowl, I thought he was very composed, not causing turnovers. Again, there's just this new confidence about Drew Pine in the pocket, but I think it also is because of Owen Shin. I think Owen Shin's doing a great job of kind of continuing drives, getting those good chunks of yards on first down, second down, even those 3rd and shorts. He's able to get those first downs, and they're doing a nice job of extending drives, burning some clock, and that's where you saw it in effect in the Turkey Bowl against Darien. Were they going to run the ball a lot? That was a kind of a question mark we had going into that game against Darien. They did that, and I thought that really helped them because considering some flags on Darien's side that led to Owen Shin's touchdown in the second half in the 3rd quarter. That was a big touchdown. But I think, again, Owen Shin right now, I think is easily one of the hottest running backs coming in right now because he is playing so well, playing so confident, knowing that if he's able to get, a break or maybe get some good chunks of yards, he has the speed, he has the agility, he has the toughness to break through and get even more on those runs. So Owen Shin is a guy that I'm looking for, again, to step up big in the semifinals. But if New Canaan wants to continue to go to that final and maybe even win that state final again, it's not causing turnovers, and that's what they've been doing those past 2 games, like you said, Frank.
Well, I'm glad you talked about Owen Shin breaking big plays because it's time for us to take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, John Kovac is going to join Kevin and I. We've got some local stories we've been following and want to address. That's next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And now, during our Black Friday sales event, get 0% APR financing for up to 72 months, plus $1,000 retail bonus cash on select 2017 Ram 1500s. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
CT City Lacrosse is dedicated to helping youth and high school players reach their full potential. Director Mike Nazaro, head lacrosse coach at Stanford High School, is holding boys and girls indoor winter clinics for the 2017-2018 season at Bobby Valentine's Sports Academy in Stanford. Find out more and sign up at ctcitylax.com.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
Welcome back on Nutmeg Sports here on the HA Network. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman. We're happy to welcome John Kovach back into the studio now. John, we were talking a little bit of football there in the A block, but we're going to talk specifically about a football story that broke earlier this week in the FCAC. Trumbull head football coach Bob Maffei has resigned after 19 seasons with the school. Bob, one of our favorite coaches to get to work with, did a tremendous job in his tenure. Obviously struggled a little bit the past few years. Finishes with 126-77 record. Won the FCAC championship in 2005. Was the runner-up in both the FCAC tournament and the Class LL state tournament in 2011. Bob is one of those old school guys, John. He was there for a good chunk of this conference coming into fruition and being one of the better leagues in the state, and he is going to be very, very missed. But I think we all sensed it was time for a change at Trumbull.
I think so. It's unfortunate, and I hate when that happens, and I've been around when a long-time coach has been, when it's been time for a change, but it's inevitable. Bobby's going to be missed. Popular among coaches, popular among the media, players and former players
especially
love
popular
him.
among his players. I think all of his players absolutely loved him. I didn't mean to cut you off. He did a very, very good job. Again, it's just a time now where I think we're seeing the league really start to separate top and bottom, and Trumbull saw this as an opportunity. You know what? Maybe we want to be making a change. Bob might have sensed that, so they're going to part ways mutually. This is on Bob's terms, and again, I don't think the Trumbull Eagles can thank him enough for what he has done over these past 19 years.
No, there needs to be something to honor him in some way, either, if not permanently, something next year. Have a night for him, something to acknowledge all the time and effort, because people see a football coach's life as Friday night, and they don't see the weekends, and they don't see the mornings, and they don't see the evenings, and they don't see the 7 days a week, and they don't see the 12 months a year, and the talking to families and talking to players and checking up on players who might be hurt, and just a lot of different things. It's going to be different without Bobby around. I hope he enjoys the time.
He has been at Trumbull for 36 straight years, of course. The first 17 of those as an assistant under the legendary Jerry McDougal. Of course, we want to apologize to Bob Maffei. He was 0-6 in his head coaching tenure with the HA Network in attendance, and he made sure to remind us of that, Kev, when we last saw him this year against New Canaan.
And I completely agree with what you said, John. I think it's going to be extremely different without Bob on the sidelines, and we can only hope that his personality, stays somewhat with the Trumbull community. And I know he's a big part of the baseball program, but with football, I mean, he's done a terrific job with that team. And I like how you also mentioned it's the former players too that come back from years past, guys come back and want to see Bob. They want to come back and, go out to lunch with him. They want to be able to talk to him, be on the sidelines for the games. And I think when you look at a coach who's able to do that and have an impact on players like that, not just today, but from the past, that speaks volumes.
I think what I want to see is, where does Trumbull go?
Yeah.
Do they go outside here, or do we? Because as Frank said, Bobby replaced Jerry McDougal. Jerry McDougal, a legend. I mean, you're talking almost a half century of football that's really been under that same coaching tree. Do they pick somebody who's on the staff or might be on staff elsewhere, who played for Bobby, who learned to coach under Bobby, whatever, or do they go in a new direction? That's what I want to see.
For me, it's one of those things that I think you look at what's happening down in Greenwich, and this is going to quickly become the model to follow, John. You want to find, and I'm not saying the next John Marinelli is necessarily out there, but you want to find a younger coach who could be put in position to be there for a long period of time, who's going to reinvigorate the youth and the energy inside a program, is going to be able to connect with these kids and revitalize a once great program that's now been struggling for the past few years.
You have to want that, but you also have to let that happen too. You have to hire one of those coaches and then let them be around long enough to change the culture, to get the buy-in, to establish themselves as a coach.
So Trumbull down there now, and that's obviously going to be a tough one to replace. According to Doug Bonjour's article in the Connecticut Post, Coach Maffei does not intend to fully retire from coaching, though. I would feel comfortable coaching anywhere, he said. I don't have a big ego, that's for sure. I have a lot of knowledge, and I'm certainly not ready to quit coaching. Again, there's an article in the Connecticut Post by Doug Bonjour with more on this story.
And God bless him, because he's gone far too young. But I was at the National Football Foundation dinner when they gave Tom Fujitani the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I know a lot of people in the FCAC miss Tom. But Tom was assisting at Bethel when he passed, and he said in that speech, it was very telling to me, he said, if I had not been, young and full of, I got to prove what I can do, he said he probably would have remained an assistant coach his whole life. And I think you see a lot of head coaches, once that's done, it's become cool again to go back and be an assistant. Another guy we lost too young, Richie Magden, who was at Prep, was assisting at Ansonia when he passed on. You got Richie Albanizio helping out at Trinity Catholic
now.
It's great for the game and for the coaches on both sides of that equation, because you have your young head coach has somebody who's been out there, he can bounce stuff off, and this older coach can still be around the game. And I can tell you, having worked with Richie Magden at Prep, the happiest I think I ever saw Richie was when he would go around and work position by position and get in the pit and be in there with the guys. That's when he got to be a football coach.
Well, John, we're two former coaches ourselves, and we were talking about this earlier today. You're not going to miss Friday night the most. You're not going to miss winning the most. What you miss the most, going to training camp, sitting there and watching these kids fight for their lives to get better and better every day. Going out to practice and knowing that you are the one who is going to dictate the energy and the emotion that day. It's the little things of being outside and being around this game that we grew up getting to play, getting to fall in love with, and just getting to surround ourselves with that. That's the toughest part about separating yourself from the game.
You're part of a team. And I'll get real personal with this, because it hit me last night. I was looking for something to put on. Got home from work. And I'm like, I'm just so used to having, after 24 years, a team sweatshirt. I can put it on, and all right, that's great. I can wear it around the house, and I'm part of that. It's kind of like my colors. I'm part of, and I don't have that for the first time, and it's kind of a weird feeling. But it's that sense of belonging to a group, fighting for a common cause, the camaraderie. That's what you miss.
Well, Christmas is right around the corner. Do you need a sweatshirt?
Oh, I
Not
can
a
always use
Richfield one. Not a Richfield one. No, and listen, we appreciate all the help Bob gave us. He was always great to us, and it was a lot of fun getting to work with him. We want to wish Bob the best of luck in whatever the next chapter of his coaching career will be. John, thanks a lot for coming on, talking about it. Obviously, you and Bob very close as well, so I know you wanted to express some words on
Yeah,
this,
I mean, it's going to be different without him around. It really is.
So, do you have any final thoughts on it, Kevin?
We're going to miss Bob, especially, he was so good to us. Whenever we showed up, and I know the little joke went around, he was 0-6 with us, but he was always so gracious to us.
He'll still remind you that, by the way.
I know, that's the great part. But for football and baseball, he was so great to us. Getting lineup cards, he was so great, so we're definitely going to miss Bob.
It'll definitely be a lot of fun. Congrats again, Bob, on a great career. Good luck in the next chapter. We're going to take another break here on Nutmeg Sports. When Kevin and I get back, our winter sports tour kicks off on Monday. We'll tell you who we're excited to see and when you can expect the RV rolling up to your campus. That's next on the HAN Network.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
Bankwell combines the best personalized service with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong community partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more. Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
Back on the HAN Network, and we are getting closer and closer to the start of the winter season, just 17 days away from opening night for many of the sports, and we are 4 days away from kicking off the FCAC Winter Sports Tour for the HAN Network. First up, it's going to be Norwalk and Darien on Monday. Kev, as you look at the tour, obviously we're going to hit every school. We're going to hit all the winter teams. What are some of the teams you are most excited to see for what they might have done last year and for their prospects heading into this 2017 season?
This is an extremely tough question because you look back at last year's winter season, I mean, how many great games did we saw? Not only from hockey to basketball, you name it. Wrestling, we saw some great matches. I think obviously you start off with wrestling. Danbury, I think we have to be excited to see them again. Who's going to be that one program who's going to try and keep up with Danbury in wrestling? I mean, Wilton basketball and Richfield basketball have to stick out because of the unbelievable FCAC boys final that we had in basketball between those two teams in double overtime. I think Wilton is going to be an exciting team because they get Brancato, the youngest Brancato on the team now. Coach Gariak is back, and this Wilton team is, I think, despite losing a lot of great players, and we lost a lot of good seniors last year, throughout many sports on the winter side that were great talents, but I think you're going to start to see a new wave of some strong players, even some young players. And for this Wilton basketball team, there are some young guys in this team that I think didn't really get a lot of playing time last year. That Coach Gariak saw him a few weeks ago for Richfield Wilton football. He told me, get ready. There's some young guys in this team who are ready to step up.
Well, you know who's a basketball team that didn't lose a lot of seniors who I am excited to see?
Trinity.
That a boy. Trinity Catholic. Legendary coach Donnie Walsh coming back for another year. He's looking to win another state championship. Trinity wins the Class S title, Kevin. They had that tough loss in the FCAC tournament against Wilton in the first round. I think this is a Catholic team who's probably going to be the favorite heading into the year, and they're going to have a lot of experience back. I'm shocked if they're not the FCAC favorite when we meet with them.
Oh, they're certainly the FCIAC favorite to me. I mean, you look at this roster; it's filled with loaded players. Only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 seniors on that roster last year. They bring back a lot. They even got some young guys coming up who I believe are going to step up. And this is a Trinity team who, yes, while it was disappointing they lost to Wilton in that first round of the FCIAC tournament, what a game that was. I think you look at that, and for the players who got a lot of minutes last year in that game especially, use that, chip. I think they're going to have a big chip on their shoulder and say, hey, once it comes down to playoff time, and, certainly they're going to make it. I believe they'll make it. I don't think they're going to have a drop-off this year with the loaded talent they have. Once they get into the tournament, I think they're going to use that loss, especially to Wilton, as motivation to advance to the final, because this is a loaded roster who I think has a lot of talent.
4 of the starting 5 are back. Peter Galgano, the senior, is out. But again, I think Cameron Blake and Stefan McGill will step up, fill that point guard role very well. But is there a more dangerous front court in the league, if not the state right now, than Dutrail Cantavio and Dimitri Moise?
No, there's not. And that's why I was so surprised, considering their size and considering, going up against a Wilton team who didn't really have a lot of size. But what they did, and I think a lot of teams, if you're going to this season, if you're one of the coaches and you're trying to preach how to beat Trinity Catholic this year, it's plain and simple. I know it's very old school, and maybe a lot of teams don't go to this anymore, but it's to box out. What did Wilton do best? They boxed out. Kyle Schifrin, I thought, had the game of his life against Trinity last year in that FCIAC first round. You just box out. And those guys are taller than you, but what's stopping you? All you got to do is use the body and box out, and look what happened. They got key rebounds, they move in transition, and they score, and they get a bucket.
I'm very excited to get down to Greenwich, meet with the boys hockey team. I think the Cardinals are going to be the team to beat in the FCIAC for boys hockey this year. Ridgefield and New Canaan are going to lose a lot of talent off of their FCIAC champion and runner-up squads. Greenwich brings back a lot. We're big fans of Coach Chris Rurik, what he is doing there. There's a lot of good things happening around this Greenwich ice hockey program, and along with their girls as well, who are the defending champions. They only lose 1 girl off their roster. Greenwich is going to be the team to beat both boys and girls hockey this year, in my opinion.
Fully agree with you, and I think we've had a great relationship with both coaching staffs. I hope Coach Rurak will let me back on the rink there. But I am excited. I think you look at this boys hockey roster for Greenwich. I know they lose a key piece in Akira Dunham. I thought he was a great leader last year for this Cardinals team. But they bring back JT Lawrence, a handful of guys, Matt Bogger, who I thought had a great season as a junior. Those are 2 guys now who easily could be front runners for captains, I think, this year. And I think JT Lawrence was great as a defender. I thought he was great. And this is a Greenwich team who, and the girls team could, I think the girls easily could repeat as FCIAC champions. And I think the boys easily have a great chance of making their way to the FCIAC final because, like you mentioned, Frank, New Canaan and Ridgefield take a huge hit. And for Ridgefield, that last season we can agree was just an absurd class of seniors that Ridgefield had. I can't see Ridgefield. They'll be successful, but not the way they were last year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Darien bounce back. Of course, New Canaan will have a new coach in place as Clark Jones replaces Pat Gore, so we'll see how that transition goes in New Canaan for boys hockey. And the girls, New Canaan girls hockey should be good. Obviously, we expect Darien to bounce back as well. Track and field, indoor. Can Danbury repeat again?
I really every year you go into this and you bounce around. Even during that outdoor at Waveney Park this past fall, speaking to a couple of teams, and including Danbury, I asked them, "How are you guys feeling about the indoor season?" How confident were they, Frank? They came up to me and said, "We got this. It's in. We already have it. It's." We're talking months away from that open being happening. So this Danbury team already confident, but as we saw last year, there were some teams who really crept up last year and did a nice job. And one by one in each different event, I think you're going to see schools pop up again. And Danbury certainly has a great opportunity to repeat as champions again.
I think Norwalk basketball, Tommy Keys and the boys, I think they could make some noise this year. If it is half as exciting, any of the seasons we had last year, if they're half as exciting this season, it's still going to be an absolute blast to follow along with.
Can I just get a request for Coach Dave Danko? Can the tie come off before the game? I mean,
I think Coach Tobish.
Tobish, sorry.
Coach Tobish come on.
And Coach Danko. I think those 2 guys need to realize, all right, we're playing each other. No ties this year. No ties, but no ties. These ties, I mean. But I think Trumbull again for girls basketball quickly. You bring back Julie Keckler. I think she's an automatic, key piece that's coming back for Trumbull. That's a team that, what a game that was against Fairfield Ward. All around, this is going to be a very exciting winter season. Like you said, we can have as much excitement as we had last year, maybe a double overtime game here or there, as we saw in the FCI final for boys basketball. We're in for a great winter season.
It'll definitely be a lot of fun, and it all starts on Monday at Norwalk High School in the morning, Darien in the afternoon as the winter tour is officially underway. Want to wish good luck to the 4 FCIAC football teams competing in the semifinals of states this weekend. Cardinals of Greenwich, Darien Blue Wave, New Canaan Rams, St. Joe's Cadets. Good luck, boys. Have fun out there. Make it count. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. That does it for this week, but we're back with you next week on the tour right here on the HAN Network.